I think the thing I loved about this one was there was a certain organicness and a certain new level of sound design that simply hasn't existed before. Manipulating sound without, being able to manipulate pitch without affecting time. And, I think the last great wave of synthesis tools was probably sampling, where we started to have PCM, you know, pieces of sound in our oscillators. And now to the next step, where you can have that quality and that detail, but you can also map it and change its pitch and change its formant. That opens up another whole new, axis of sounds. I'm personally glad that we're going back towards the idea of a more lead synth kind of approach. While this thing does have multi-tempo capabilities, it's not really meant as one of those 16-channel orchestras. This is a lead guy. It's a performer, and I really like that. It occupies a new center stage for me as far as what sounds it can do and how it blends with all my other toys. V synthesizer for me is a return to sound design, which I think is a little overdue. In this day and age, we have billions of libraries and amazing sounds out there created by a number of people. But the days of creating your own sound and manipulating and shaping it and giving it your personality and making it your sound, which you then use in your music, I've really missed that. And this gives an opportunity to get back to that again. When you're composing for film, you have a lot of deadlines. You have a lot of other people doing what you do. It's very competitive, and you're always looking for ways to stand out. And to me, using a loop library, that someone else down the street could be using as well, it's not, it's not great for a composer. It's also not great for inspiration. But to be able to take a group of building block sounds and shape them and manipulate them very easily, those are the kinds of things that I still like to do. And because synthesis was my original background. To me, synthesizers have always been a form of animation. You go to an animated film, it's not real. It's virtual, if you will. But there is an art form in the line drawings and in the computer animation and in the visuals and the textures. And it's this virtual world on screen. And there's a beauty in that, and there's also a magic in the craft of how that's done. Synthesizers work exactly the same way. Everybody's looking at trying to make the ultimate orchestra or the ultimate real guitar. Well, if you want a real guitar, get a real guitar player. For me, what I'm looking for are things that use acoustics as a modeling method to open up into something totally new. My favorite sounds on the V-Synth are definitely recognizable. You can hear that that's a vocal sound, or you can hear that that's a rhythm sound. But what I love is how that can then go to the next level. How rhythms can actually be affected by a vocal characteristic, or how a vocal can actually be shaped, the way a loop would shape a voice sound. With all those stuttering effects and stuff that normally take a lot of DSP to do. So as a synthesizer, it does some really new, cool synthetic things that are not real. But that's what I love about it. My favorite parts of the interface are the real-time control of the sounds that I'm manipulating. Every now and then, a synth comes along that says, okay, let's give the knobs back to the performer, and I really like that. I'm able to change so many different components down to the oscillator level. Not only pitch, not only time, but also the formant knob, which is what I think is the heart of a lot of what the V-Synth sounds do. And I found in just creating sounds and modifying them, it's been very, very fast and very, very effective. The other things that, the other favorite parts of the interface are, you've got the time trip pad, you've also got the D-beam, and for woodwind parts, I'm really loving that because I can really shape and manipulate things like that. And it records into the sequencer, no problem, and plays it back fine. So it's those parts of the interface that really jump out at me. Being able to turn on the oscillators and listen to the actual structure and mute things, and try and find out what's causing that particular component of a sound, and being able to have control of that. Those are my favorite parts of what this machine is. For all the depth of what this is, and for all the detail in the sound and stuff, the sounds that the unit does come with and stuff are actually very inspiring, and they're very easy to either motivate you to play something with it, or motivate you just to tailor it or change it just to your liking and just change one component of that sound. So from that point of view, it's very musical. mean, all the regular gadgets and goodies are there as far as loops and as far as bass lines and textures and all that other kind of stuff. But, you know, for me, this is a lead synth. This is something that takes center stage. It's organic if it needs to be. It's electronic if it needs to be. And that's what I like about it. I haven't had something take front and center like that for a long time. It's not going to kick out any of my other toys, but at the same time, whether I'm using it as a start of something new in a composition, or whether I'm using it to create that one new sound that the director's always bugging me for, that sound that no one has ever heard before, I can get that with this. I think in days gone by, melody was much more of a key element than it is now. In this day and age, it's all about sound, it's all about texture, and it's a lot about rhythm. One could almost say that rhythm is the new melody, especially when you're dealing with film score stuff, where there's dialogue on the screen, so the melody is already there. You have to come up with something that supports what's going on screen, can't get in the way, but still does it in a cool way that adds another level of emotion to the film. So for me, using this as a rhythmic device that can be shaped melodically, it finds a new arsenal of something that I can take with me into a film score.